Welcome back to the Goonerverse, everyone. This is a what we learnt video from Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Obviously, we destroyed them 4-1. And I want to go through some things that I learnt on rewatch. I've done a canon rewatch with Rohan, rewatched that second half, and I've got quite a few extra thoughts. But because obviously we're not doing an analysis piece, this being the last day of the year, obviously we're all taking a little bit easier today. So we won't be doing an analysis video on this. Loose Cannons is out tomorrow night. The Goonerverse podcast out on Friday. That's kind of the soonest I'll be able to talk about those games in more detail. And I had some extra thoughts. I know that there's been a bit of a bombardment of content. We've had the 4 live streams in 24 hours with this one, and then 3 yesterday, player ratings, the Rice injury, everything like that. And of course, the match reactions out on Goonerverse News. So apologies, I know it's a lot of content, but I did feel that I actually had extra thoughts, and I wanted to soak in the glory of this win a little bit more with all of you. So big thank you for all tuning in. Some of you are tuning in for the second time. Why? Because again, we had issues with the internet. I think I've figured it out. My Ethernet cable wasn't plugged in properly, so apologies for that. It came loose slightly. So yeah, that might have been what's causing it. Apologies to anyone who's jumping in for a second attempt at this live stream. Twice it's happened. We're still getting to grips with the whole live stream stuff. I think everything's sorted on the lag front. If there is any lag or audio issues, please do let me know. But I'm glad we're back up and running. So like I said, a few things I want to do. I want to do my thanks and everything for the year, but you know what? I'll leave that to the end of the stream. In fact, let me just make sure I write that in my notes, because I really do want to thank you all for your support this year, and just really kind of round off what's been a really great year for me on the Goonerverse, and I want to make sure I give my thanks properly. But what we're going to do is go through 5 things that I felt I've learnt on rewatch a little bit of that game, 5 things that I think we need to make sure we take away from this match, because yes, we can all enjoy the win for sure. There were a few concerns at times, but there are also so many positives. As you can see from the thumbnail, one of the big things I chat about is Martin Zubimendi. He's not a 6. He's an all-round midfielder, and the way we use our midfield is really, really unique. But I want to talk about some players I think are underrated too. I want to talk about the striker debate. I want to talk about the Emirates in general. I want to look at how our 19 games and our first half of the season's gone in general. So plenty to cover here on the Goonerverse. Thank you all for letting me know that the stream is now A-OK. Glad that that's all running smoothly, and apologies for any issues we had a little bit earlier. Okay, let's go into it. And I think we start with where the thumbnail is guiding the conversation, right? Which is Martin Zubimendi isn't a 6. Now, apologies, there aren't really any visual. If there aren't any visuals, it's just me chatting. This is going to be 30 minutes of just me chatting to you all. But I do feel we've covered this quite well on the Goonerverse. I actually think we've discussed this in quite a lot of detail on this channel, the use of Zubimendi in higher areas when we go to a 3-1-6 trying to break teams down, the double pivot with him and Rice and the two of them bombing forward against Spurs and Bayern Munich. We've talked about their roles being very interchangeable and there not being like a clear 6 and a clear 8 in the system. But I think with Martin Ødegaard coming in, the fluidity's just gone up another level between the two of them, Zubimendi, Ødegaard, but also Rice or Mourinho, whichever it is, starting midfield. Because remember, Mourinho started against Brighton midfield too, so he's been a part of 2 good performances. Whatever you think of Mourinho, that midfield 3 do understand each other really, really well. When I had my crash out yesterday about Rice being injured, I did say on the stream, it doesn't change anything about what I expect of this Arsenal team and their ability to go beat Aston Villa. I still felt the ingredients were there, and I think in that second half we saw why. There is a good interchangeability, and Zubimendi has given us something from the 6 that I find really, really, really unique to this team. And I think what it is that he was profiled as a player by us as Arsenal fans. Some of us probably did it quite lazily too. I think he was profiled as a Jorginho type, but when you actually looked at some of the underlying data, there was some really good stuff defensively, and there was a physicality to his game that perhaps we weren't giving him credit for. What we've seen this time at Arsenal is he plays nearer Declan Rice, and he does love to drop in and receive the ball as a 6 and dictate a game of football. But he's also got this ability to not just bomb forward as an attacking threat, but to pull into wider areas, show real tech and quality in wider areas where he does, think of that cross for Gyökeres in pre-season when we scored against Athletic Club, I think at the Emirates. That is half space crossing. Think of what he did when he picked up the ball, rolled it to Trossard, and then gave it to Jesus for the fourth goal yesterday. Think of his line-breaking running, his powering into the box, and the finish as well. He doesn't just poke it into the far corner. He lifts it. He lifts it enough because if he doesn't, the outstretched leg of Emi Martin is going to get there. It's a genius finish from Martin Zubimendi. And in different areas of the pitch, we've just mentioned, in and around the penalty area, driving through, almost making a striker's run. And we've given two examples of wider areas too. He's shown an ability to be someone who can actually affect the game from a creative perspective away from the central hub that he's typically known for being more comfortable in. And we saw it in games against Sunderland, for example, where he was bursting through into the penalty area as well. We saw it against Newcastle, where he showed a lot of creativity in that game. He is someone who can really pick a lock and make things happen. And I'm really, really happy for him that he got the goal, but he did it in that manner because it showed a different side to his game that I think has been going a little under the radar. Against Bayern Munich, if you look back at some of those goals, he is bombing forward. Against Tottenham, he is bombing forward. He's not doing it because Rice is sitting back. The two of them are doing it together. This is not someone you can pigeonhole as a number 6. You can't just go, Martin Zubimendi is a defensive midfielder, he's a 6, he's a bit lightweight, and he's just kind of tied in possession. No, this is a very creative, all-round central midfielder. Do you remember that piece of skill where he kind of took a touch and flicked it over the top to Gyökeres? Was it against Atletico Madrid, I think? He has shown real quality on the edge of the penalty area. And what I love about Declan Rice, who a lot of us have said is a 6, is that the two of them really can play off each other, and they can either go together, they can sit together, or they can allow the other to thrive, depending on what the game state needs. They are one of the best centre backs. They're one of the best central midfield partnerships in world football because of that fluidity. But what we saw against Aston Villa was Martin Ødegaard also very happy to say, Marino and Martin Zubimendi, you guys get forward, I will happily sit back. And we saw that with the second goal where Marino and Zubimendi are the higher players on the press trying to win the ball back, and Ødegaard covers. And Ødegaard showed real strength and quality in possession and out of possession to run the game when the other two are more advanced and say, no, don't worry. Players are going to bounce off me. I can run through the Villa midfield. I can make things happen. He wins the ball back as the deepest midfield, Martin Ødegaard. He drives forward and Zubimendi makes a brilliant run and results in us going 2-0 up. He's not a number 6, Martin Zubimendi. He is so much more than that. He can play it. He can play it brilliantly. But the clues have been there for a little while. Winning headers against Dan Burn. Scoring from headers as well. Definitely showing his quality in the air. He's got a brilliant leap, and he's really good at winning his aerial duels. Some of the creativity in the edge of penalty area too. All of that has shown this is a player who we need to unlock a little bit more and allow to do different things in different areas of the pitch. But the midfield of Ødegaard, Rice, Marino, these players complement him really well and allow him to do that. Let's go through some of your comments on Martin Zubimendi. You let me know what you're making of the player. Rob says, thank you for your super chat, Rob. Is Zubimendi underrated due to Rice's high standards? Yes, maybe. Because Eze is the type of player who's going to have more of the moments. Ødegaard, we know what we can do. Rice is just a world-class central midfielder. Yeah, there's every chance he's somewhat underrated because of what the other midfielders around him are doing. Marino's had a lot of the clutch moments too. But I do think a lot of people rate Zubimendi, to be fair. It's so interesting. This midfield 3 is so fluid and very reminiscent of what PSG do with their midfield that ultimately we kind of need to see our midfield as 3 8s as opposed to a 6, an 8 and a 10. Certainly when it was Eze, it did feel like there was more of a actual 10 there. But, when it's Ødegaard in there, it really is 3 floating midfielders who can all do a bit of everything. H00479 says, Rice, Zubimendi, Saliba, Trossard should be rested for Bournemouth away. Absolutely not. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be doing that. We're going to need them for that game. Bournemouth won't be easy. Finley says that will be key to our attack clicking this season. I agree. One Mad Press says, interested to see if we'll move Rice in the six with Zubimendi and Erdegaard playing in attacking phases, then switch to the usual double pivot in defensive phase. Yeah, I think we do a bit of that anyway, but I think we might see a little bit more of it as well. Sing Alex Song, what a name. Says, good afternoon, James. I've always thought Rice should be our six. I've thought so too, but I really like the way they're all kind of playing together. Abdullah with a super chat says, injury-wise, is this the best situation the squad have been in this season? Only short-term injuries for Rice and Calafiori with the whole squad. Yes, I agree. I think this is. Obviously, Mosquera, we hope, is back soon. But look how quickly White recovered. I mean, I thought that was so encouraging to see White back immediately, and hopefully Calafiori will be fine as well. ETAFC says, if Erdegaard maintains this level, we have unlocked a new comprehensive level to this team with our elite defence and attack getting back to a few years ago. Support from LA, James. It's 4 a.m. here, getting ready for work. Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I think you're probably right. I think, I think if Erdegaard can click like that, it helps the attack so much, which I think goes now into my second thing we learned, which is that for me, Gabriel Jesus is ready to start. Now, I've got a little bit to say on Victor Gyökeres, but I don't want to make this a Jesus Gyökeres thing yet. I think we should talk about Gyökeres in actually a different segment of this live stream. But on Gabby Jesus, he's ready to start games, and I think we saw that when he got 80 minutes against Palace, to be fair. But there was a real sharpness to his play. The finish was absolutely sensational. He looks really up to speed. I mean, I have to say, when players take time away because of an injury, you've got to think, right, he's basically missed 11 months of football. When a player misses that much football, we talk about what they lose physically, right? We talk about the lack of time on the pitch. We talk about the lack of time with the football, the lack of time with the team, the fact that we generally just move on as a side. We learn to play a different way. We talk about what they might lose in terms of muscle strength, in terms of agility and ability to do certain things because of the injury they've sustained. What about what they gain? And I'm just guessing here. What about maybe a hunger they gain? What about maybe a determination to appreciate every moment on the pitch and give it their all and be, super ready mentally and physically, trying to get themselves in the best shape possible because they know they've got to come back and make an impression if they want to keep their place at Arsenal, if they want to make it into the World Cup squad, which Gabby Jesus does, or if he wants to play for a particular move in the summer because we know he won't go in January. What if they gain something from that perspective? What if they gain something in terms of one-to-one coaching off the pitch? What if he watches his game back? What if he has all that time to watch his finishing, to learn what he got wrong? I'm sure that Arteta and the Arsenal staff who are paying, and the club who are paying him, aren't just saying, no, you rest, and when you're ready to get back on the pitch, we'll start working with you then. I'm sure that there's so much time put into watching tapes, watching what he did wrong in front of goal before, watching where he struggled post that first knee injury to where he was kind of really thriving with the knee before the knee injury in 22-23. What if all these things are happening? There's maybe a degree of therapy. There's a degree of training yourself mentally to come back to your best as well. I mean, all the work that would have been done off the pitch for 11 months. Yes, a lot of it wouldn't have been done with the ball at his feet, but there might have been improvements in other ways, and I think he's looked really sharp since he's returned. I think his work rate's terrific. He hasn't lost anything tactically because I still think he links that, the wingers and the front three together better than we've seen anyone do really since Jesus in 2022. And I think he, has looked kind of sharp in terms of his strength, in terms of his skill in tight spaces. Arsenal have clearly taken their time and made sure to work with him and not just kind of throw him in once he was match fit, but actually make sure that his sharpness from a match readiness perspective is there. I don't know, maybe he gained other things. Maybe with time away, you grow in a different way. I don't know. And maybe that comes with maturity and an appreciation for the game, but maybe it comes with the technical aspects that he might have studied off the pitch as well. I think he's ready to start games. Like I said, I don't want to talk about Gyökeres too much right now. We'll talk about him on my next point. But I'm really happy for Gabby Jesus. I really, really am. And I think he should start at Bournemouth. I think we look better when he is leading the line, personally. Let's see what a lot of you are saying around Gabby Jesus. What have we got? Havertz should start respectively, says Nazir. He wants Havertz back when he's starting. Why are you removing your videos? Oh, because of the lag. So it's not. I'm not removing them. I'm just restarting the stream. But thanks for tuning back in. Jimbo isn't happy with Gyökeres. Thinks his link up is a struggle. We'll talk about him in a sec. But Nazir says that Gyökeres brought the energy at the start of the second half yesterday. Changed the course of the game. We did start the second half well. I'll agree. It took Havertz 6-7 months to really get into this team. Don't forget, he didn't come knocking. He didn't come knocking with performances until after the Dubai trip. Very, very true. Mr. Chillhouse says Jesus is the main 9 for me. Finley says, I think the front three are much more free-flowing with Jesus and Gyökeres. It'll be interesting to see how it works with Kai back in. Yeah, I agree with that too. Funny, we didn't have a striker a couple of weeks ago, and now we've got 3 ready to go. And, Gyökeres starts the game and we win. The thing with Gyökeres starts in some of our best performances. That's the one thing I'll say for him. Like, whenever you think of Victor Gyökeres, we have our best performances when he's leading the line. But yeah, I think Jesus should start on the weekend. So this brings me on to my third point. Now, the overall point is that Saka's underrated. This is the big thing I want to say. Saka is becoming very, very, very underrated. And sometimes it's to do with the standard you set. But I did the player ratings last night, and I've read the comments, and obviously I saw the live stream. And a lot of people were saying, how have you got Saka as good, but Gyökeres is poor, or Marino is not great, or whatever? I'm not trying to bash Victor Gyökeres. He works incredibly hard. He's got a real hunger. I actually quite like the player. I think there's something about him that we will get, however long his time at Arsenal is, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it is, I think we're going to actually get a degree of output and something of an impact and a different option for this Arsenal side. And I think we'll appreciate Gyökeres in time. But I will say this, because the bar's low with him and the strikers in general, we're praising the kind of few good things he does. So, for example, good touch and good pass that leads to the corner for the opening goal. That was nice. A little bit of decent hold-up play that led to a corner in the second half too, sure. But guys, there wasn't a lot. He missed some big chances. Bukayo Saka, on the other hand, put in a brilliant, brilliant corner that opens the deadlock for us. That breaks the deadlock, that opens the scoring for us. Bukayo Saka had a hand in a huge moment of the game for Arsenal. Other than that, in the second half, I've only rewatched the second half because I thought he struggled in the first half against Digne. But in the second half, looked after the ball really well, won fouls, combined nicely with the right-hand side. Like, was shrugging off McGinn and other players like that and just keeping us moving in possession. Like, he's becoming underrated for doing the basics. He defended really well. And he did the simple things well. And he had a really decisive moment at 0-0. Like, a lot of the best players, Mo Salah is someone who's done this. Maybe not at his best over 90 minutes, but delivers a moment. Like, some of the greats are defined by having that trait. Bukayo Saka wasn't having a great game. His all-round performance wasn't great. But he delivered a huge moment. And his all-round play was very tidy, very neat, very efficient. But people will underrate it, but then overrate another performance because we saw a little bit more than we're used to seeing from them. I think Bukayo Saka is a victim of his high standards that he sets. I'm loving what Bukayo Saka's done and given us this month, generally. And long may it continue. I think the output is going to come very, very soon because I think he was worthy of a goal or two in the last few games. And certainly more in terms of GA. You know, I think he should have had a goal against Everton. I think he should have scored yesterday. Should have had an assist with Martinelli putting over the bar against Brighton. And suddenly you're saying, well, that's 2 more goals and assists for the month of December, and things look a little bit different. And that is stuff that should happen by the standards that he plays at. So yeah, I think he's a victim of his own success personally. Saka and Rice are the best corner deliverers in the world, says ET I agree. Yoda says, I'm glad that Bukayo is getting a break from the spotlight. Hopefully he'll play fewer minutes, which will make him better long term. I agree. How do you feel about Eze being unable to get into this team, says Henry? I have no problem with it. I am actually very encouraged that the same profile of player as Eze and Trossard is thriving in this team. So when Eze comes in, he's going to be a real fit. It's not a complete style change. Is there no pod today, says Elijah? No, Loose Cannon's out tomorrow. It's actually live tomorrow night after the Sunderland City game. So look out for us live, and it's a special as well. We're really looking forward to that. Finley says, agreed, we've set a different standard of Saka because of how good he's been. However, since we've seen that level from him before, would you say it's fair to judge him like that? Yeah, Finley, I think it's fair to judge him by the standards he's set, but at the same time, not saying, like, you can go too far with it, right? So yes, by the standards he has set, he's not been that great. But to say like Gyökeres was better than him, for me that's complete nonsense. Like Saka was better. He had the key moment, and all round his game was better than Gyökeres. But I see more praise for Gyökeres than we do sort of acknowledgement for Saka in the moment he had at a time where we really needed it. I hope that makes sense. Those are my 3 main points in terms of what we learned, but I've got 2 quick ones I'll fly through. I think the subs need minutes. I did think Lewis Skelly, Ben White, Madueke, I did think they looked a little bit shaky, if I'm honest. I'm really glad that Ben White's injury is nothing long term. I'm really glad that we got him back on the pitch so soon. I mean, what's that? A week and a half, 2 weeks after Wolves? I think that's really, really encouraging, because the way he pulled up with that hamstring problem, I thought that could have been that could have been a good month minimum. And actually, we reported that it was going to be 4 to 5 weeks. That's what was being said. But actually, they've brought him back really, really quickly. So that's super encouraging. Madueke, now this is a lot of secondhand information, right? So let me just make that very, very clear. Speaking to Rohan on the Canon rewatch, go check that out on the Canon podcast, and they've got a Patreon where we did the rewatch for the second half. Apparently, Stuyvenberg went up to Madueke at full time, wasn't happy with something. And so I watched Madueke's cameo quite closely, and there was a little bit of laziness in his passing. Not laziness in terms of work, right? I think he was trying, but like a few things he did that just felt like, mate, switch on, and actually he lost his runner a few times, and I don't think he quite knew where to be defensively. And then they started to make things happen down that left-hand side, which obviously leads to the goal. I'm not saying that's his fault. I think there's collective error with Saliba, with Norgard, with Raya. But Madueke was there and part of it, Ben White too. And the subs in general, we lost control, and Villa suddenly were racking up XG and were sort of causing us problems in that last 10 minutes, which, by last 10 minutes, I would say minute 88 to minute 98. So that was a little bit frustrating. The subs need some minutes because they are looking a little bit rusty, if I'm really, really honest. Eze and Waneri didn't come on. I don't really have a problem with that. I don't think the game state has called for them at any point in the last few weeks. So I can understand why they haven't seen as much of the pitch as you'd like, against Brighton, against Villa, against Everton away, for example. So, yeah, the subs need minutes. I'm not blaming Arteta for his use of the subs and his use of the squad at all. I think he's largely got it spot on, but they do need minutes at some point because they're looking a little bit rusty. I wonder whether we can get some behind closed doors games going on to get them minutes. But again, there's so much football being played. Like, we're going to have the FA Cup soon, for example. We've got the Carabao Cup. Well, we might rotate a little bit. Hopefully they can get sharp in those games as well. Davel says it was good Norgard came on for more minutes, and I agree with that. I thought he did well. Okay, my final point, as we're going to wrap up fairly soon, is that the Emirates has become a bit of a fortress this season. We've won every single game at the Emirates. Obviously, Palace went to penalties, but we obviously won that. And City drew. So we've won every game but the City game, where look, that point's now looking really important now, right? Because without that, we'd be behind City in the table. So that Martinelli goal was absolutely crucial. Fair play to him and to Eze for pulling out that moment for us. But yeah, look, I felt that, and you can now see why the Arsenal players and the Arsenal staff enjoyed that equaliser a little bit more than perhaps we did in the moment as fans. They probably recognised more than we did that City are going to be a real threat this season, and to enjoy when you do stop City from winning, even if it means you didn't win a game you probably felt you should have. But the Emirates has become a really difficult place for teams to go. And I love that we're picking up so many wins, that teams are barely scoring, that we are playing some good attacking football. So I think we have been against Palace, against Brighton, against Villa. And I love that, this has been a period of the year when normally teams would come to the Emirates and maybe nick a win that they didn't deserve, or maybe we leave goals on the pitch and we drop points we weren't expecting to. I'm really, really glad that our record has been so immaculate at home, because I think it really needs to be. Teams need to feel like if they're coming to the Emirates, they're going to have a really, really tough day. And I'm so glad we put Villa to the sword, but I'm so glad that our record reflects that as well. And when you look at our record in general for the campaign, 19 games played in the Premier League. We are top of the league. We're 5 clear of City, though they are going to play Sunderland away. I think they'll win that game. I think they'll have too much for Sunderland. So it's probably going to be a 2-point lead, but we have opened a 6-point gap on third place Villa, which is great. We're top of the Champions League phase, which is, was that 6 wins out of 6, I think it is. Barely conceded a goal in that as well. And we're in a Carabao Cup semi-final where we face Chelsea. That is a really brilliant body of work for August to the end of the year. I think Arsenal and Arteta could be really, really happy with the work they've done, could be really, really happy with the first half of the campaign. If we match this in the second half, I believe we'll be champions. I think we can go up another level. I don't think we're at our best. I did a video here on the Goonerverse saying that Arsenal are clicking, that Arsenal are getting to their very best, and that we're leaving goals on the pitch, but those goals are going to come. It did against Villa. Let's hope it continues. Let's hope we find a little bit of momentum in front of goal now. But I really believe that we can still go up another level. Even against Villa, I felt that we were pretty average in that first half, probably lucky not to go in behind. And we kicked on in that second half and showed what we're really about. Let's hope that game was a little bit of a microcosm, if that's a word, of what our season can be. A first half, which in front of goal was pretty average. It was good. It was good, but not our very best. And a second half in which we exploded into life. I'd love to see that. Thank you all for your super chats coming in. I will read them now. Hopefully I haven't missed any. Let's have a look. Richie says, hey James, who's winning the league, Arsenal or Man City? I think Arsenal are going to do it. So I was reading other comments as well. I think Arsenal are going to do it. I do. I've said it before. I'm not going to change my mind. I think we're going to win the league. JPY 1647 says, unpopular opinion, but I think Mikel is handling the injury situation perfectly. He doesn't have to play players to the ground because he has more options. And so it looks like we're having more injuries. I think, I know what you mean. I get what you're saying. Basically, in a previous season, would Rice have played this game because they would have just risked it because we wouldn't have had the options? Calafiori, would he have just been risked? Yeah, you're probably right. It probably looks like we have more injuries because we're, basically not chancing it with certain players, like Timber missing the other day against Brighton as well. I hear that. I do hear that. However, there is also a sense of, some of the injuries have been legit, like Saliba, missing, Anfield and Stamford Bridge. Gabriel missing a run of games. We have also been unfortunate with genuine injuries. But I think him and Berta going for a really stacked squad in the summer was perfect. That was exactly the way to manage it. And I think we're reaping the rewards of that. Whatever's going wrong behind the scenes, that's contributing to a lot of injuries. That's something that needs to be looked at. But having a squad prepared for it is really good. Squad building and recruitment from everyone this summer. Lee Jacobs says, I mentioned bringing Norgard in and playing Zubi as an 8. I got laughed at. There's a huge difference in how often Arteta played Jorginho last season versus Norgard this season. Declan Rice needs slightly less minutes in the running. Come on, you Gunners. Lee, I don't know who laughed at you. I wouldn't have laughed at you for that because I definitely agree. When I did the breakdowns with Ben Mattinson here on the channel, we said that Zubimendi could play as a roaming 8, that he could play in a double pivot too. So I agree with all of that. And also, one of Jorginho's best performances for Arsenal came when he was playing alongside Declan Rice in a double pivot versus Liverpool. But he played Jorginho as more of the left 8. So he was the one kind of knitting play together on that side. With Rice sitting in front of Saliba and Gabriel. So I definitely think we can do that more often at times. And Zubimendi has shown he can bring us that as well. Lions Den. Told you last night, James. Just support the team. That Rice stuff was unnecessary and just provided more fuel for rivals. Let Arteta cook. Lions Den. Thank you so much for the super chat and appreciate what you were saying yesterday. I think I replied to you at the time yesterday, but I think I respectfully disagree. I don't think it was unnecessary to be really, really frustrated that another big player was missing another big game. Let me put this into a different context for you, Lions Den. Onana was running that first half. He was running through us. Mourinho couldn't get near him. That's why we needed Declan Rice. And we nearly found ourselves 1, maybe 2-0 down because of what Onana was doing, feeding Sancho, driving to the box himself. Watkins, I think, could have had a goal or two. We couldn't get near Onana. And I think as much as we did some brilliant stuff in that second half, Onana coming off did give us momentum and impetus to go and run all over them because suddenly we clearly had the more physical midfield to get on top of Tielemans and McGinn. So I hear what you're saying, but Rice was still missed last night. And I'd also say that I did say in that live stream that my anger and frustration is towards the amount of injuries we're getting them and the timing. But I didn't change my score prediction for Villa, and I didn't change my expectation of what the team could do. I predicted a 3-0, we got a 4-1. So I think, to be fair to me, my reading of that game and the Rice injury was correct. But you are right, support the team, back them. And I think I did in that stream. I think I did say, look, here are the solutions and here's what we can do. But thank you for the super chat and I hope you can see where I'm coming from. Roger says, Arsenal will win the League Cup. I hope you are right. Okay. I think a lot of people are asking about loose cannons. All right, so let's just do some quick, sort of tidying up and housekeeping. Loose Cannons live tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Turkish's channel. It's a special. We've got extra guests. It's going to be really fun. I'm super looking forward to it. Look out for that. I want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to everyone who's tuned in, not just to this live stream, but to everything here on the Goonerverse. Some of you might have caught this on the now deleted live stream that I had to redo because of the lag. I want to say that, this year's obviously been a really strange year. I've spoken about it on the Goonerverse podcast where the first half of the year wasn't making as much content, just had a lot going on in life, and I wasn't really as passionate as in the thick of things with the Goonerverse and all the sort of content that I'd want to be doing around Arsenal. But as summer approached and we got into the new season, I rediscovered my motivation. Things got sorted in life. We launched Goonerverse News. A huge thank you to everyone who subscribed to that. It's given me a different way to do content there as well. And I've really, really enjoyed doing this, not only because Arsenal have been great and because it's been fun talking about Arsenal, not only because Max makes it so easy with the brilliant production he's put together, but because all of you as a community are brilliant to talk football with. There is 99% of the time, of course, there's the 1% who like to troll, but there is largely really healthy conversation around Arsenal. There is good debate. There's good spirited conversation. There's a lot of love and support. And I see the comments. I know I don't reply to all of them. I don't always have time and I'm so sorry. And you know what? A New Year's resolution of mine should be to be better with the comments. But I see every single comment, that is praising the analysis or just thanking me for the work or whatever it is. Thank you all, because without all of you commenting, liking, watching, I wouldn't be able to do this as my job, as my life full time, as my career. So a huge thank you to all of you. I see the comments, I see the love. Thank you so much. But thank you for supporting. Thank you for still being here after I struggled with making content at the start of the year. And thank you for just supporting everything. Life has changed a lot for me this year, but I've had a blast, and I'm so happy where the Goonerverse is. I'm so happy with the community and all of you who are a part of it. So thank you so much. It's the last live stream of 2025. We've come a long way with a brand new channel, with a better setup of live streams and more content. We've got Loose Cannons. We hope you're enjoying that as well. And I'm really excited for what's to come in 2026. I believe we'll be celebrating trophies. Yes, there's a plural on that. I'll elaborate on that one day. But thank you so much. Let's get through the final super chats. K Price says, what this game tells us is we are good to win the league. Arteta, please play positively. No handbrakes. No seeing the game out in the last minute. And I think there's one more super chat. No, I did read that. Okay. A lot of you coming in with some lovely comments. So big thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. If you're in Australia, I think you're Happy New Year to JPY with the super chat. If you're in Australia, I think it's nearly the New Year. It's 2026 for you. Anyway, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you to Max. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes. You don't even know. Issa, Juliana, everyone who works on making the Goonerverse what it is. A big thank you to everyone. 2026 is going to be big. I'm sure of it. Well done, Arsenal. What a win and what a way to send us into the new year. Catch you all in a bit.